Hi, welcome back. I'm Doc Palmer. I'm the author of McGraw-Hill's Maintenance Planning and Scheduling Handbook. Because the fundamentals of planning and scheduling are a little bit strange, most people just don't get it. But that gives us a competitive edge. We can get better and better quality over the years through maintenance planning if we treat that as a Deming cycle, where we don't expect craftspersons to blindly follow a job plan. They're professionals. We're giving them a head start, maybe clarifying the problem statement, gathering information together we think they'll need. And then they do the job right. They're doctors. They open up the patient, the asset, the pump, the valve, the heat exchanger. They use the job plan as a tool, but they might find they have to do something different. This or that instead of this and that. They write that down as feedback, and the next time we work on that asset, we get better. So we get better over the years by institutionalizing knowledge that we learned. The scheduling is also a bit strange. The scheduling, we want to fully load schedules to defeat Parkinson's law. This is the productivity issue. We can get a 50% pop in work order completion rate with the extra work being purely proactive. If you have a 30-person workforce, you could have a 45-person workforce for free. The extra 15 people, by definition, are doing proactive work to keep things from breaking in the future. You've got the reactive maintenance covered. You've staffed yourself with 30 people to do that. But we have a lot of reactive maintenance. How can we do the extra maintenance? The week is the right time frame for this productivity issue. It's not the only maintenance time frame. The yearly horizon is really about budgets, projects, staffing, hiring, that kind of stuff, how much overall we're spending on maintenance. The monthly is really about preventive maintenance. Are we keeping up with the preventive maintenance without using too much overtime? And then flipping to the other side, the daily scheduling really is about assigning work to individuals and coordinating exact lockout, tagout times. The week is what we miss. We think the week is just 5 daily schedules crammed together in advance. That's not what it is. Maintenance is has too much churn for that. You have slow mechanics, fast mechanics. The estimate's not perfect. You don't know exactly what was going to go on with that pump when somebody wrote the work order and we planned the work order. The times are just all over the place. But for a week is long enough to smooth out the time estimates. Individual time estimates might be plus or minus 100%. A job planned for 5 hours might take 1 or 2 hours. It might take 8 or 9 hours. Just depends on who's working on it, exactly what's going on, how many interruptions you have during the day where you lose your train of thought. However, if you give a crew of 10 people enough work for the week, 400 hours worth of work, these estimates smooth out. It probably is about 400 hours worth of work, plus or minus 10 or 15%. That's because the individual estimates, even though they have a wide variance, they have a somewhat normal distribution where as many jobs go over as they under. So a week is long enough to smooth the estimates. It's also enough work to provide for bundling. As we talked about in planning earlier, the word planner is a bad word. It sounds like you're telling a mechanic how to do their job. A better word would be craft historian. My job as a planner is to save information for everybody. And that is the essence of the Deming cycle, so we can get better. The word scheduler, is also a bad word. It sounds like you're telling a supervisor how to do their job. That's not what we're doing. A better word would be backlog researcher. Hey, I went to a class. I found out I'm not really a scheduler. I'm really a backlog researcher. Well, what's the difference? Well, it pays the same, but my real job is to go through the backlog so you don't have to, so you can be out in the field wandering around, supervising. And if I know there's certain jobs you're going to do next week, is there anything else you can do while you're there? And by bundling, we bundle more proactive work with more reactive work. We'll probably do the more reactive work. Is there anything else we can do while we're there to keep something from being reactive in the future? If you're going to send a person way over there, is there anything else they can do while they're there? If you're going to do lockout, tagout on the condensate polisher, is there anything else they can work on while they're there? That's a huge, huge, valuable service you're providing for the supervisor. You're not telling them what to do. You're providing a service. If you're got a bunch of jobs over there, it's more efficient. Common lockout, tagout maybe. Lockout, tagout is a problem. I mean, we're going to do it, but it's something else that we have to do to be safe. And the operators really resent if you work on something on Tuesday, get lockout, tagout, and later in the week on Friday you say, can you lock and tag it out again for us? Well, why didn't you do all that work on Tuesday? Well, we didn't see it in the backlog, and it suddenly came up. And the more you can do that bundling, you're really providing a service. I'm over 60. When I bend over to tie my shoelace, that's a pretty reactive job. It needs to be done right away so I don't fall, and it becomes even more reactive. I go ahead and look under the bed for dog toys. Well, that's proactive, because I know in the middle of the night, later on tonight, this is the middle of the day now, a dog will see that and start barking to get their toy out. So I bend over to tie my shoe that's reactive. While I'm there, is there anything else I can do? Yeah, look under the bed, see if there are any dog toys. That's a silly example, but that's perfect bundling of work orders. So a week is long enough to smooth out the estimates and to provide a service for the supervisors of bundling for efficiency. It's also short enough. It's long enough and it's short enough. It's short enough to provide a sense of mission, to get beyond the feeling of, our normal feeling of sense of mission for a supervisor is take care of operations, make sure everybody has something to do, and nobody's just standing around. That's not bad. But it's a better sense of mission if we can say, here's the amount of work we would like to get done this week. Now, if operators call, you might not get it all done, but we're providing that sense of mission. And a week provides that. If you say, here's all the work we'd like to do this month, well, that's not a sense of mission. That just means we need to keep everybody busy. When I get it down to a week, it's like you can get your hands around it. And the plant priorities change all the time. This is more important. Now this is more important. Now this is more important. A week kind of is a good get your hands around and try to protect that. You can protect something for a week. If the operators call and say, hey, can you do this for me? You can say, well, can it wait till next week? You've got a chance at making that happen. If the operators call and you say, hey, can it wait till next month? That's not going to happen. The operators typically don't call you for something that can wait for a month. They'll just write a work order or something. So you can try to protect the schedule. It's short enough for that. And it's long enough to smooth out the estimates and be a right goal. Goal should be RUMBA, which is a dance. Reasonable, understandable, measurable, believable, achievable. That 400 hours for a crew of 10 people for a week, everybody working a 40-hour week, it's understandable, it's measurable, and it's believable. We'll deal with whether it's achievable or not, but it's long enough and it's short enough. So not much there in this principle. I will mention that you can we want a schedule for the next week. You could do a skeleton for the week after that and the week after that and the week after that, where you're slotting in some weekly PMs and maybe the way you think the monthly PMs are going to fall. But don't do too much work on the future weeks. It's hard enough to come up with a good batch of work for next week. Spend your time making a good batch of work for next week, bundling for the supervisors, and sell yourself as providing a service for them. It's really scary for a supervisor to get this batch of work, and no, you're not telling them what to do. Continue to retreat back to saying you're doing backlog research. And it is a service to get supervisors out in the field. It's hard enough for supervisors to get out in the field as it is with meetings and admin work. we don't want them digging through the backlog for work. See if you can get them a good batch of work for the next week. So, simple principle. Next week we'll talk about how we should fully load the schedule, which is a lot more controversial. But the week is the right time frame for this productivity bit. Thanks for joining me, and God bless, and we'll see you next time.